Hi there, and welcome back to the Message Marketing Pod. I'm your host, Christopher Melotti from Melotti Media, and this is episode 127. Why every business needs unique brand messaging. So, close your eyes for a second and imagine this. A complex digital landscape filled with a never-ending stream of information. A place where every brand is vying for attention and shouting from the virtual rooftops. A world where AI has blurred the lines of distinction and where everything seems, well, a little same. Some brands would call this picture a nightmare, but in reality, this is just the world of today, right? I know, it sounds bleak. And it may sound daunting, I know, but don't stress. The future of your brand isn't as bleak as this all might sound. In fact, this is actually an exciting opportunity to stand out. That's right, when there's actually a way where you can break free from this monotony and embrace the power of your brand's unique voice. How? Well, this is where unique brand messaging comes from. And it's how to make your brand truly shine. But, it's really quite a tricky thing to get right. In principle, it sounds simple, but it's actually not. And so I really want to take this podcast episode to explain what it takes for your brand to really stand out in the way it communicates. So if you're ready to become a bit of a beacon of authenticity, with a brand that shines, through, mediocrity. And then let's have a chat about what we're going to do about how to create a truly unique and captivating brand. All right, so what is brand messaging? Let's start with that. Well, brand messaging is your brand's set of go-to instructions for words and messages, tone and style that you can use to articulate the essence of your brand to your customers. And it's basically the building blocks of communication that you use typically that your brand becomes remembered by. So it's the principles according to which your brand communicates and engages with customers. And really what it comes down to is how do you create that consistency? Through a brand messaging guidelines. So do you have a clear brand messaging guidelines? And I'm not talking just like the instructions where it's like, we are happy, we are bold, we say this, we say that. I'm talking about actual messages for different contexts. So like hero statements and core messaging and all of those kind of like mission and vision and all those things where your brand is actually articulated, not just defined, like we like to be happy or we like to be forward progressing. I'm talking like actual messages that your brand speaks. And the reason why this is good is because it helps you and your team define what actually makes your brand unique. So why do you need these brand messaging guidelines? Well, in today's fast-paced digital era, standing out is absolutely necessary, and I shouldn't have to tell you anything, right? Like, customers want to know exactly what you can do for them and why you can do it better than your competitors, but they also want to see you as relevant. So in order to do this, your brand needs to be defined in the following ways. First, it needs to be crystal clear. Right? When you're clear about something, then there's no confusion. So with a unique brand messaging guidelines, you can ensure that all of your brand's communications and marketing material is focused, precise, and on point. So this means not just you, but also your team. The biggest problem that businesses and companies have that I see every single day as a marketing consultant at Melotti Media is that it's like one or two people know the brand or can define the brand, but all of the team can't really articulate it in a way that's uniform. And so what you get is if you get into a room with them, you'll get like a couple of the managers that know, but then what'll happen is you'll have a couple of the staff. And usually those team members are the ones that are writing the social media captions and things. They struggle to give it a clear personality. And that's where brands go wrong, because the more those people write for your brand and communicate for your brand, the more dilute you become. The more that you make your communications generic, the more that you will be seen as generic. That's when you get this beige brand kind of feel. So if you've got those people jumping on your socials and putting those messages out, then that what happens is it's like the brand loses its authenticity. So the people that know it might know it internally, but then the people who are communicating it externally end up damaging the brand. So it's really important to get that right. The next attribute that you want, and why you want a brand guidelines, is to be conscious. Okay, so every word uttered by your business has the potential to make an impact in the minds of your audience. So with unique brand messaging guidelines, you'll have a reference point from which to craft your messages to align with your brand's vision, mission, and values. The next thing, of course, is similar to what I was saying, which is be consistent, or it helps you be more consistent. When it comes to brand messaging, consistency reigns supreme. And the reason why is because in a noisy environment, unique brand messaging guidelines ensure that your brand's communication remains consistent across all of your channels. People don't remember things that aren't consistent. And I always say, if people struggle to understand this concept, I say, think about your friends that you hang out with, right? That you know them and they stick in your mind and they're memorable because of the way that they make you feel consistently. Right? So you've got that cool friend, you've got that an extroverted friend, you've got that really relaxed friend, right? And you know them and they are consistent in the way that their personality is. And so therefore you can relate to them and you know what part of your life you like to share with them. And it works the same with brands, right? If you've got that, that really outgoing, loud brand in certain contexts, you will choose them because you remember them. But if that brand starts being all over the place, then you start to lose that connection. Same as a friend. If a friend changes and constantly is a different person every time you meet them, then you lose that connection. And another reason why it's a benefit to have that brand messaging guidelines is because it helps you highlight your unique selling points. So your USPs are the secret sauce to help you stand out from your competition. And so having them in your brand messaging guidelines means that you can spotlight them, right? And you can really harp on about your brand's distinctive strengths and show off what makes you truly unique. So across all of your websites, if you can say that, you can talk about your unparalleled quality or your exceptional customer service or innovative solutions, etc., etc. So whatever USPs are, you need them to be at the top of your messaging. And again, as a marketing consultant, the amount of companies and brands and businesses that I see that really don't emphasize their unique differences and their competitive advantages really surprises me because they take it for granted. So that's what you need to do. So how do we build this unique brand messaging guideline? Well, first thing is a little bit biased, but the first thing is to hire an external marketing strategist like myself for Monotony Media. And this is not a shameless plug. It's because let's face it, not everyone is a wordsmith or a master of communication, and that's totally okay. But just like you wouldn't try and fix your own car when it breaks down, it's best to leave this brand messaging articulation to the pros. And the reason why is because sometimes you need someone with an external, fresh perspective to come and break the stalemates and come and really delve into what makes you different. There are so many brands and companies that I've worked with that, 5 or 6 people know bits and pieces of their brand messaging, but they can't get it together or they can't express it in a way that is marketing relevant. And so that is what someone like myself does. We act as a guide, right, to get in there and show you what is going to really help you succeed. And the next one is, and this is part of what I do, but this is what you can also do, is hold a strategy or mind dump session. And, with the guidance of someone external like myself or whoever you choose, you can get in and just get your team to just start mind dumping. There are no wrong ideas. It's just basically to unleash the collective brilliance of your team. The difference that it's just doing with your team and doing with someone like myself in there is that we can guide and make note and build on things. Like if someone says something and I go, oh, this is what happens, I'll go, oh, that's really great. Let's build on this. Does anyone have to contribute? And if you have that guide there, you can prevent it from getting that bias. Is that, by helping facilitate these discussions and asking thought-provoking questions and challenging assumptions, you can actually bring that structure to that mind dump to really build it into a brand messaging that starts to take shape. And then the next step is to sit back and let that magic happen. So after that mind dump session, either myself or someone from your team can collect all of that wisdom and then basically put it into a messaging guidelines. And so this is what the team at Monotony Media do, is that we spend about 2 weeks synthesizing that recording of that session with my facilitation to really build in and put that together. And so this is a really exciting time. I know that a lot of my clients, they can't wait for this step because it's like getting a new brand. It comes back and it's like, oh, this is great, and this is what we thought, and this is what we thought. And then going back and forth means you can facilitate a rebirth of what your messaging, what you want it to be, rather than just what it is. And so that's really, really important. But then the number one step, or the most important step, I should say, number 4 of the 4, but the number one importance is once you get that brand messaging guidelines, it's time to use it. So it should never stick in a drawer and gather dust. It should be part of your, marketing campaigns and your collateral and your socials. You should be using it, and the document should be shared. I know a lot of my clients use their brand messaging document to teach their sales team, and then they use it to put into AI, or they use it to as an AI prompt, or they they give it to their customer service team, or they give it to their marketing team to write their website, or their copywriters. So it's all about giving it to your team, and even as an induction. Like, imagine it as an induction document. I've had many clients use it where they say, "Hi, welcome to the company. So here's our brand messaging guidelines. Have a read. This will give you the whole comprehensive view of what our brand stands for, who we are, what we do, why we do it, and like exactly everything about our business." And that will, imagine that document, not just unifying your marketing, but you're also unifying your team. And so if you need that help, then it's time to seek out a marketing strategist, a messaging marketing strategist like myself, to really help you. Because in today's volatile workplace and in today's environment, is that the brands that are distinct and that stand out are the ones that get noticed and chosen. Why? Because it's human nature. We pick things that we're familiar with, that are relevant, that we understand. And if there's a brand that is memorable for all the right reasons, you naturally go about seeking it out. So think about top 5 brands that you know. Right? What is it that they do, and how do they communicate in a way that has stuck in your mind so successfully? It's that kind of messaging is why a brand needs to have that unique brand messaging through a brand messaging guideline. So if you need assistance, I'd be happy to chat to you, talk you through it. Just visit our website, monotonymedia.com.au, or you can inquire at enquire@monotonymedia.com.au. I'd love to chat with you and your business to discuss how we can build that brand core messaging document and those guidelines so that you've got exactly what your brand is, so that even if people leave, you can still have this document that defines exactly what your brand is. So I hope this has helped. I hope this has inspired you to consider consolidating your brand and helping yourself become more conscious around what your brand is and how it communicates, and how to be more crystal clear about it, how to be consistent and highlight your unique selling points. So thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Message Marketing Pod. I'm your host, Christopher Melotti from Melotti Media. Join me in the next podcast. I can't wait to share more insights with you. Thank you.